how would you manage intensity training a jiu-jitsu as a jiu-jitsu hobbyist? 4 trainings a week. I know it's dumb to go full force every time, but I don't want to take it lazy either. Okay, so the concept of like training intensity or how much should you train is like a really tricky one, right? Because the main thing is when you train, you like and again, there's different objectives with your training, right? If you're training, you could be training to maximize your technical development, right? In the way that like you could practice chess a lot to get better at chess. Like if you practice chess 5 hours a day, you're probably going to get better than if you practice 1 hour a day. Okay, there may be some diminishing return on that where like you get stressed out, but generally you can train as much as you want with something like chess. With jiu-jitsu, there's like a physical limitation. So if you overtrain in jiu-jitsu, like you may be able to train jiu-jitsu for 3 hours a day, right? But if you train jiu-jitsu, or think about it this way, if you want to get good at chess, you can practice chess 10 hours a day. But if I told you the whole time you're playing chess, you have to be doing deadlifts, right? Well, then you couldn't practice chess for 10 hours a day. But not because of the mental aspect of development, but because your body couldn't physically handle doing 10 hours of deadlifts, right? So that's the tricky part with jiu-jitsu is what you're trying to do is maximize your technical development while training at a hard enough physical level that you can still get the resistance to get the correct pattern recognition development in your technique while also not overtraining yourself physically, right? So to me, that's why I like to isolate the things, right? Like I have training with a clear objective of this is to push my cardio intensity. And then I have a training with the clear objective of this is to maximize my strength level, right? And then I have another training that the purpose of this is to increase my technical development as much as possible. So the other tricky part with like figuring out like how many times to train a week is people's recovery is different, right? So you get stronger or you grow physically when you recover, not when you do the work. You do bench press to tear the muscles down, and then when you recover, you overcompensate, and that's when you become stronger, right? Same with any form of exercise and gain, right? You need the recovery part. So the recovery part can be massively different for different people. If you're a really natural athlete, you may be able to handle 6 hard training sessions a week, right? But if you're not, or if you're like really small, or like you just don't have good athletic genetics, you may not be able to handle that much, right? Also, you may have like a physical job. Like let's say you're a carpenter and you're working physically all day. You can't treat that the same as someone else who just has a desk job, right? You're also physically drained from that. You have how much calories you're eating, and then like performance enhancers. Like some people are on performance enhancers so they can train 2 or 3 times a day, right? So for me, I'll give you what works for me, and of course you have to gauge how you feel day to day. But for me, my ideal model is like 5 jiu-jitsu sessions a week in the morning. And I vary the intensity of those, but I like around 2 to 3 hours of training in those, right? So you come in and maybe like an hour of like more technical work where I'm just kind of trying to patch problems in my game and solve problems. Then maybe an hour of more intense specific sparring, or maybe even like an hour and a half of one, hour and a half of another, and then close out with higher intensity, either regular rounds or specific sparring with the purpose to push intensity, where it's like 2-minute rounds. There's like 2 minutes left on the clock. You're down 2 points, and you have to sweep to win, or you have to pass to win. You start in a bad position. Things like that, right? And then I like 5 days a week to do some kind of strength and conditioning. So probably like 3 strength and 2 conditioning, or 2 strength and 3 conditioning. And then the conditioning can vary because you may be working your aerobic, you may be working anaerobic. A lot of times I consult with like experts in those fields to kind of help organize the training a bit. For strength, I like heavy, 5x5, 3x5. I followed like the gymnastic bodies for a while. For my strength training, I did a lot of like gymnastic stuff. So basically my model is like 5 jiu-jitsu sessions a week. Of course, this is like I'm a full-time athlete, but 5 jiu-jitsu sessions a week, where in each session I have time set aside for kind of like solving technical problems and pushing the intensity and doing a lot of specific sparring, right? And then, the intensity level of those jiu-jitsu sessions will vary depending on how I feel that day, right? So I would say for really hard jiu-jitsu sessions, only 2 to 3 a week for me. That's what I feel comfortable with, because I like to save my energy level to maximize my technical development and also maximize my strength development as well, right? And then, if I wake up one day and like, let's say the night before I just couldn't sleep well, right? Well, they've done a lot of studies. I don't know the percentages exactly on it, but like undersleeping is one of the main causes of injury, right? I think your like injury risk goes up like something like 50% or more when you have like you've underslept a lot, right? So for me, like, you may wake up and be like, okay, I'm supposed to push today, right? But then you may wake up and you just couldn't sleep the night before. You had like stress, you overthought when you went to bed, and you only got like 4 hours of sleep. Well, if you come in that day and you're like, well, it's Monday, I'm supposed to go hard as fuck, and you do that, then you're going to be like, you may get injured, right? And then you're out for 2 weeks. So on days like that where I feel really run down, I'd rather come in and get 2 or 3 hours of technical work in where I'm like, okay, I'm tired, but like I'm gonna start in like, the underhook de la Hiva. I'm gonna let the guy try to pass, and then I'll try to figure out little details. If he passes, no big deal. I go back again, and I don't push super hard because I'm trying to solve technical problems, right? But then another day when I feel really good, I feel really fresh, then maybe I may do more rounds where I'm really trying to push the pace and the intensity to win, almost like it's a competition. And also that will change as I get closer to a tournament. If I'm if I'm like a month and a half out from Worlds, then I'm doing more sessions to push the intensity, the mental toughness, and the cardio. If I'm like in the summer and I'm trying to maximize my strength training and my technical development, well, then I'm going to be doing that less. I'm going to be thinking more like, maximize my strength, lower the jiu-jitsu intensity, and focus on technical development, try things I don't normally do to try to evolve my game. When I'm in tournament season, technically I'm looking more at like, sharpening the things I do and being fast and explosive and that kind of stuff, right? So long story short, I would just say 5 jiu-jitsu sessions a week, 5 strength and conditioning, but you're varying the intensity levels as needed. And then measure your progress, and then watch a lot of competition video.